Yes, people. Welcome back to my channel at Big Steve MCFC. We are the South Stand. We are the South Stand. We are the South Stand. You know the drill by now. Listen, always a pleasure. My big mate, MCFC Daps. What are you saying, man?
I'm good, Steve. I've realised. You see that? I think you saw the Insta I put out the other day. Your celebration.
Oh yeah.
It's the same. Every goal. I would just remember it every time I looked at you. Apart from the Cancelo one, which I was getting a drink with, your cousin. It's the same. You look at me straight away. Go, yeah. But
proper, innit, man? Proper, man.
The other night, man.
No, listen. Yeah, we've got to go into it, man. Nottingham Forest at home, newly promoted team. Loads and loads of signings. Coming to the Etihad on the back of Man City beating Crystal Palace. We were 2-0 down to Palace. We were 3-1 down to Newcastle. So if I'm a Forest player, manager, he's thinking, you know what, Man City's defence is a bit soft. Let's go there. Didn't happen. You know what I mean? You can wave your European Cups about all you fucking want. But when that big Norwegian monster is lurking, it's not a good day for them, man. And like you say, unbelievable scenes again from him. I think people were just gobsmacked. The way he just moves, the way he's just lurking all the time, and we've been crying out for it. I know we won the league last season, and I know we scored a lot of goals last season, but this fella up front is just unbelievable.
You know what? I'm gonna come with a different angle quick because I feel we need to. Because everyone's seeing this. I've done 2 streams so far tonight, and I did 1 or 2 streams last night. All everyone's saying is you've won the league, you've won the league, you've won the league, right? And talking about his goal scoring, which we can move on to, no problem. But for me, Steve, what it was, that won't get spoke about enough is how much he was battling back and getting more involved.
Yeah.
And there was
it's early days. It's early days for him.
But it's changing already.
To be honest, does he have to get back and battle? Sometimes I don't think he does. I just think, we know it's in the locker, but I think if he starts getting involved in the play too much, I think some of the midfielders are going to say, you know what, mate, get out of our way. Just do what you do. Yeah, get around that box. Because if he drops deep, it brings their back line deeper and it squashes the space for our boys to do it. But what he's been doing, he's been on the shoulder. I seen Czech Kyoto, whatever he's called, that donut who used to play for West Ham and Palace, and the other centre-back arguing over who was marking him the other night because they literally didn't want to go near him. So they were passing him on to each other. As soon as I seen that, I thought, you know what? It's game over. And you know what's frustrating as well and what's frightening? Pep's taking him off after 60, 65 minutes. So
well, let's be real. We thought he was going to be brought off at half-time because it was like he's got a hat trick again. We're at half-time where we were 3. Yeah, Cancelo scored. We 3 or 4 at halftime. I can't even fucking remember.
3, I think.
Then Cancelo scored, instantly afterwards. But it was just, for me, like Pep came out after the game and said the skills that Haaland possesses can't be taught. But you know that Pep will still be saying, like, joking aside, but if you can do this. And when I'm seeing him battling back and winning the ball back as well, I'm like, my God, this guy could be absolutely ferocious. But when I think you said, I said to you at the game, I've never seen anyone, and this is mad. We've had Aguero, right? I've never seen anyone come alive like Haaland in the box. The way he knows where to be at the right time. The third goal, I think it was, where there was a bit of volley. What's it called? Head of volley or whatever. But he was just waiting, watching the ball, knowing. And you pointed out how he acts uninterested at times to throw defenders off because they think, and that's the one thing that surprised me a little bit so far this season, for someone like Erling Haaland to lose defenders as easily as he does, because he just seems to have a way to just.
He's got. I noticed it first game of the season against West Ham. He was sort of like walking away as if he's uninterested, but he's fully aware what's around him. Then all of a sudden, when the ball comes in, he takes a 2-step and he's in front of the defender and it's in. Yeah. And the defender just takes a glance and thinks, this guy's not even paying attention here. I'm on him. I'm fully aware of what's around there. I'm switched on. But he's not. He's one step ahead of you all the time. Yeah. And like you say, he's scoring all types of goals with his head, tap-ins, running
penalties,
through, finishing, penalties. He's a different animal. And listen, anyone that knows football, right, and who's not a kid who pretends to know football, anyone that knows football knows that this guy was world class. So everyone that was saying he was going to flop, he can't handle the Premier League, anyone that looked at that Charity Shield miss and thought, yeah, this guy's in for one of them seasons, he's sadly mistaken. Because if you notice, after that Charity Shield miss, he just started laughing his bollocks off, because he knew that in his own head, he thought, you know what, I should be burying that. But do you know what? I'm ready for it. The week after, when the business started, miss all you want in a Charity Shield, miss all you want in a friendly. When the business started, he's you know what I mean? Look at the goals. What is it, 9 and 6?
9 and 5. 9 and 5.
9 and
we're
5,
talking league.
you know.
But
the guy,
the thing is,
he's unbelievable, mate.
Steve, it's given me, I've said to you before, I'm not, especially this time of the year, when it gets to January, February, I know what we do. But this time of the year, sometimes I'm a bit reluctant to give my predictions and whatever else. But I've just finished a show with Matisse, and he was like, okay, you've got to tell us. Firstly, is Haaland going to beat Mo Salah's record? And I was like, yeah, I think he will. Yeah. Will City win the league? But more importantly, in fact, they didn't ask me. They said, we're not even going to ask you that because we think that points. I said 101 points or above. That's what but also I'm going to put it out there. When you look at Haaland's record in the Champions League and how far Dortmund have gone, right? Not that far, but it's goal scoring. It's like you can't even say will he not do it in the big games, because he has. And it's given us something where usually I could look at the Villa game tomorrow and say it's a difficult game, which I do think it is. Villa right now are in the shit. Gerrard is in the shit. Liverpool fans are slightly pissed off about that as well. But we have to be real. 6 competitive games ago, they pushed us. So we know what they're capable of. But for me, the change now is, whereas last season we might have had 5-6 chances and not scored any. If we have 5 or 6 chances and Haaland's on the pitch, we're scoring 2-3 of them. So I'm slightly confident going into games that I've never had before because of that man. But then I think the thing we need to talk on as well is when he came off. Yeah. And how Alvarez just took over.
Yeah, like I say, I'm going to get to Alvarez, but just a bit more on Haaland. I mean, we've got to protect him as well as a fan base. We've got to realise that he's there to be shut down because he started so well. As soon as he doesn't score, they're going to be on his case. He might even have a 2, 3, 4 game patch where he doesn't score. You just never know. But one thing is for certain, we've got the players behind him that can take the pressure off him. It's not like he's at Dortmund. He has a 4-game blip at Dortmund, and Dortmund are in the shit. He has a 4-game blip at Man City. There's Alvarez, De Bruyne, do you know what I mean? Bernardo, everyone's stepping up to the plate. So, and I've got to give credit to Pep as well. He's not tinkered with him too much. I think everybody thought he was going to rest him the other night. He didn't. And at the end of the day, he kept him on the pitch. He done his job, and then he rested him. And like Pep said, he's 22-year-old. He's not 32-year-old. He's 22-year-old. He's full of beans. He wants to play every game. And then obviously he got the hat trick. You know what I mean? The first goal was a poacher's goal at the near post. The second, he did a good link up with Foden, took a deflection, fell to him, tapped it in. The third one, the pinball in the box in the head tennis, he gets under the bar, bang, scores.
Scored another one as well, didn't he? That Stones touched on the line, actually, as well. That was...
Yeah, Stones tapped it in on the line. Yeah. He just looked dangerous. But then you look at the Alvarez link up. Foden, Haaland, Alvarez for the first time, I believe. I think Alvarez, his goals that he took was unbelievable. And you know what? Let Haaland get all the plaudits.
That's what I've been saying, bro.
Because this guy's going under the radar, and people don't realise.
You know the one that I happened to film, right? Did you see how good a finish that was with his balance? It was very Aguero-esque, actually. That his balance was. You know, most people would have been putting that row Z, but the way he managed to keep that down, I think I saw someone tweet or something saying he's got the balance and like the stamina and the running ability of Bernardo Silva, but then he's got the finishing like Aguero. And it's true. Even the one he missed, he nearly got a hat trick, hit the outside of the post, didn't he?
You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a little Carlos Tevez, and like a little bull in a china shop, and he's just a little bit raw, a little bit rugged, but he's up for the scrap. And I find that with them South Americans. I feel like they've got this. I've met his family twice, one at West Ham and one at Barcelona Airport. Yeah, you was with me. The humble people, they've come from Argentina, they're living the dream. They can't believe that the son is representing Manchester City. And every time he steps on that pitch, he's going to run through brick walls for the team, and he's only going to get better. And like I say, the first goal, right on the end of it, bang, clinical finish. The second one with his weaker foot as well. You got it on camera. Anyone that wants to watch it, you got it on camera. But it was unbelievable, mate.
It's the balance, Steve. It's the balance. It's so easy to lean back. But what you said there, when we were in Barcelona, we did the little thing for City, for the City channel.
Yeah.
And the cameraman was Argentinian. When we were walking back to the bar, I said to him, I said, are you finding that in Argentina there's there's a fan base of City? And he said, yeah, but it's because we've recognized that City are building a fan base for Argentina. And he said, and we like that. And that's kind of how it is. It's like Zabaleta going over there, Aguero, Tevez, Otamendi, Willy Caballero. They're appreciating that we appreciate Argentinians, and it's kind of like
Martin Demichelis, man. Martin Demichelis.
Hey, there's another one.
Don't underestimate Demichelis, man. He was big for us when he came in with his long hair.
For his age as well, bro. For his age, he came in. He was joking aside, but
he's underrated. We needed him at the time. But no, it was. Listen, it was massive, and like you say, Cancelo scored a worldie of a goal. Kevin De Bruyne's rested. Unbelievable. Kevin De Bruyne rested. Mahrez rested. We just look like we've got a really good team spirit and a really good amount of options. And like you say, this Haaland, the pressure's on for him tomorrow because they're talking about 3 hat-tricks in 3 games. Now, if he does that tomorrow, I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. The guy's just on it.
His start's better than Aguero's now, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it is.
If he would have got 2, it would have been the same.
No, it's unbelievable. And like you say,
the other thing, Steve, that I clocked is how with the chance, we've slid in with Sergio's just changed to Alvarez. And then the Yaya.
Yeah, I need to address this because the City fans, man, over the years, Man City have come up with some wicked chants.
Yeah,
fans.
We have.
But we need to put our heads together here, right? Because we can't just keep recycling these chants. I'm all for an Erling Haaland chant, but we've got one of the best strikers in the world. We can't just keep singing Alfie. It's that boat sailed. Do
you know what? I'm not gonna lie, because I just had this debate with Matisse, and Matisse was pulling me up on it. I was like, Matisse, from you support a club that does Chelsea.
Yeah, that's all. Chelsea can't say shit, man.
But I kind of hear me out on this. I kind of like the fact that we're doing Erling and Alfie because I respect Erling and Alfie more than this. Is some of our younger fan base won't appreciate this, but the Colo Yaya thing is a bit, Colo went Liverpool. I don't really want to say Colo's name no more. So, but I think you're right. Someone will come up with one. We need one like the Bernardo chant for me. That Bernardo one does it for me properly. Liverpool have stole that one as well, to be fair. But
listen, I'm sure somebody pissed up on a coach coming back from an away game in a few weeks will come out with an absolute blinder, and everyone will start singing it. There was one just that was going Haaland. I think that's even better than that Colo one because I'm an old guy, me now. You know what I mean? I don't want to be waving my hands in the air like a bellend. I just want to be supporting my team and singing some wicked chant at Old Trafford when Haaland gets 4. You know what I mean? I don't want to be doing that shit. But no, it was good, mate. And listen, it's great to see him in the flesh, and great to see all the South Stand was up. Forest fans. Someone told me the Forest fans were brilliant, but where we are in the South Stand, when you side on from him, it's very hard to hear him because we're singing as well.
Well, I said when I got out of the ground, I met Imran outside the ground, and I said they were awful. And he goes, "Don't say that because they were amazing." And I was like, I didn't realise they had 3 tiers because that was how quiet it seemed. But it's because of where we were.
It's just because you can't hear him because you're side on and we're singing as well. If you're facing them or the other side of them, you can hear them. But like I say,
I think the other thing is, like with City, obviously, you get points, and the more points you get, the more chance of getting the tickets where you want to get them. So apparently some of the louder kind of younger Forest fans were in the second and third tier, not in the first tier. But I don't know. I mean, for me, it seemed like a good atmosphere amongst City fans. It seemed like a lot of confidence, we're getting to see this is what we need, because it is a point that we did go down in our last 2 games, but we bounced back.
Yeah.
But now to go and get a 6-0 after Liverpool got 9-0, it helps the goal difference. It does. But now we have to keep it moving.
Some of the comments are funny, man. People in the comments, I am reading them all. I'm trying to get them out there. I'm the guy that DM'd you, Big Steve, about going bald if Haaland bags a hat-trick against Villa. I know who you are, bro. You messaged me and said, if Haaland scores a hat-trick, I'm going bald. And looking at his hair, man, he had hair like a Wilton carpet as well, So, if you shave your hair off, bag it up, send it to me, and I'll get one of my guys to make a rug out of it.
I'm going to look at the odds while we're on. I bet the odds on him getting a hat trick are not that great. Not that great at all.
Leonard says, I'm not sure we talk enough about Gundogan. Do you know what, Leonard? Gundogan's a legend. Oh, not even for what he did last season. He's always been Mr. Dependable. He's come in when he needed to. He's played in 6 or 7 different positions, DM, false 9. He's a great player. And the fact that Pep's made him captain this season obviously speaks louder than words. If you're captain of Manchester City Football Club, you've got something about you. It's it's just not one of them things that happen, especially when you've got De Bruyne, Ruben Diaz in the team, and to pick Gundo as a captain, he's brilliant. And at the minute, he's playing really, really well. He steadies the ship. He's he's rotating him at the minute with De Bruyne. And yeah, Ilkay, mate, he made the Scousers cry. What more do you want? He's a legend.
Steve, you know what? So it's funny because if you look at the way City do the free transfer thing, it's last season Fernandinho, season before, correct me if I'm wrong at any point, was Aguero. Season before that was Silva. Season before that was Vinny. Season before that was Yaya. Season before that was Zabaleta. Ultimately, when you've played between 8 and 10 years at Manchester City, our board go, do you know what? Free transfer, go wherever you want because you have served the club amazingly. All of our legends get it.
Yeah.
And then,
it's right.
And so I'm thinking next season, end of this season, Gundogan will go on a free. But here's my thought process. I think we'd all agree that next summer Bernardo Silva might go, right? We've managed to keep him for another season. He might go. He might change his mind, but he might go. To let him go and Gundogan in the same summer, I don't think we could do. It's two elite central midfielders. I feel like this could be like when we gave Fernandinho captain to kind of try and tempt him with, you know what, you mean a lot to the club, extend 1 more year. And then if Bernardo goes, we can bring in a younger central midfielder, and who better to learn off of than Gundogan? Because, yeah, sure, Bernardo Silva, engine, ability, crazy. But if we're talking football brain, I think Gundogan's probably got the best football brain in our team. So I don't know if this is a little thing to try and keep him here for 1 more season after this season, because you look at the back end of last season, he was pivotal. But then you look at the season before when De Bruyne got injured, Gundogan was pivotal.
Things are starting. Yeah, there was. I think what happened was after De Bruyne got injured and he stepped up to the plate, I think Gundogan, thought, you know what, I should be playing week in, week out. I'm a top level player, which he is. And I didn't think he thought in his own mind that he would get a spot at Man City. I think he thought he'd always be a bit part player. And when he scored that goal to win us the league, and Sterling was celebrating with him, I read an interview with Sterling when he said, "What did you say to Gundogan?" And he turned around and said to him, "Look, it's not always bad things happen. Good things can happen, just as you thought." So in my mind, I'm thinking he's probably had a conversation with Gundogan about maybe not getting the chances at City and wanting to leave. The fact that Gundogan this summer has been made captain, like you say, started the season as he has, I think he now feels that he's an important member of the squad.
Yeah.
And I think he's also got to take a step back and think, is there anywhere better to play my football at the minute than Manchester City?
Yeah.
And I don't think there is. So I think Gundogan, you might get another couple of seasons out of him. And like you said, it might be a Fernandinho moment where, you know, we give him a round of applause, we give him a free transfer. And do you know what? That'd be fitting for him, because the guy's come in, he's never given us an ounce of trouble. He's always been there, Mr. Dependable, scored some great goals for us. And yeah, Steve, I remember at times when City didn't. Some City fans used to slate Gundogan. Oh, he's passing sideways, backwards, and all that. But listen, it is what it is. These players are growing every season.
If you think about it with Gundogan, when he first arrived at the club, like he came in, and I remember he was due to join us, and then he got injured again, and the board went to Pep and said, "What do we do?" And Pep said, "You continue to sign him." And he came in, and sure, he had his first 2 seasons he had a lot of injuries. If we took away those first 2 seasons, I think he would be given flowers a lot earlier. It's only now that the whole Premier League, every fan base in the Premier League is appreciating Gundogan. And I even remember at the Bernabeu, Steve, when him and Zinchenko came on and they changed the whole game. Admittedly, what happened. But when they came on, he's almost like the perfect Pep player. He knows how to play Pep football perfectly and just be calm, relaxed, and know that chances will happen. I hope he stays another season at least.
Big up the super chat, Zayn Miasi with a 449. Zayn, now listen, let me just talk to you a minute, Zayn. Calm down, because a 12-month ago, you lot were rioting in the streets. Oh. You wanted Arteta getting out. He was no good for your football club. You wanted a big name manager. He was signing rubbish players. Now, all of a sudden, Uncle Steve told you to be calm, relax, chill out, stop stressing. You've signed a couple of our players who we had to move them on because they're not quite good enough for us. They're obviously very, very good for you. And all this nonsense about Arsenal were coming for the title. Zayn, listen, there's helplines out there for people like you. You know what I mean? Go to the doctors, get some help, phone the helpline, phone Frank, don't take any illegal substances, and relax, man. You're having a good season. It's early doors. Chill out. Enjoy your football and chill out. Because if you get beat off Man United, you'll all be rioting again outside the stadium. You know what I mean?
Steve, you know what it is? With Arsenal, I think you and I are both similar. Last season, we thought they were going to get top 4. We backed them to get top 4. We also, because of Arteta, because of Zinchenko, because of Jesus, we want to back Arsenal. But then they start saying things like, when I see them talking about Zinchenko saying, you know, he's getting more love than he ever got at City. What, when he was driving his car, you surrounded him at red lights? We cheered him on while he was putting the Ukraine flag round a Premier League trophy.
That's Arsenal fans. They're mad as anything. I go to the Emirates, yeah, and to be honest, I get a good reception off Arsenal fans because I've always been fair with them. I get the passionate, and I get there's a very fine line with Arsenal fans, and if you upset them, they never forget it. I've upset them a few times, but I've also complimented them sometimes. But at the end of the day, listen, Arsenal fans, relax. You're having a great season. Jesus, Zinchenko, all your signings are gelling. Arteta's doing well. There's nobody wants them players and Arteta to do well more than me. I think they're great, and for Man City. But at the end of the day, it's a very, very tough season, and the levels that Liverpool and Man City get this league to are going to be hard. So if Arsenal are in the mix, with 10 games to go, I'll take my hat off to you. But listen to me, it's coming deep. And when it goes deep and when it goes off, you've got to be ready. And I don't quite think they're ready yet. Do you know what I mean? Daps, have you froze? No.
No, I'm here. 100%. This is what I'm saying. I want to back Arsenal, but when I see things like he's going to score more goals than Haaland, I just think, please calm down. Please calm down.
Big up Coffee Jesus, man. Big Steve, he sent Jesus and Zinni to Arsenal to prove a point about Arteta, and he brought back Akanji, man, back to the Prem for lulz.
Do you know what? I don't know how you feel on this quickly. Apparently, he might be injured now, but Arsenal are they're missing a few players for tomorrow, a few kind of more deeper line midfielders. And I said to someone, is Zinchenko available? They said he might be. I said, will he start over Tierney? They said, no, Tierney will start. I said, right. I would not be surprised if Arteta plays Zinchenko in midfield tomorrow.
I think he's injured. According to the fantasy football app, he's injured.
Would you not agree? he could come in and do a job as a deeper midfielder for them. He could do a better job than El Nani
Of course
does.
he could. That's why he signed. Yeah. Listen, he signed them players, Arteta, because of the mentality of them. They've been grown up they've earned the crust in a Pep system. They know what it's like to be winners, and that is what Arsenal needed. When Obba was throwing his toys out the pram, Arteta said, "Right, it's time for you to go."
Yeah.
The fans went mad, but it took a pair of bollocks for him to do that, and he done 100%. It because he's the gaffer. Now everybody at Arsenal knows he's the gaffer. And if it kicks off in that dressing room, you better believe that Zinchenko and Jesus, who they're going to stand with? They're standing with Arteta. I'm telling you now. And that's what's going to happen, man.
I think the other thing is that I think every day there at the club, more people will stand for them. I think that 4-0 win over Chelsea in the summer was because of players like Zinchenko and Jesus saying we haven't left the Premier League champions to join a team and be bantered. So let's go out and show these Chelsea.
Isn't it mad how Arsenal fans, right, can be on a meltdown 1 minute and then next minute they're going to win the league? This is what I'm trying to tell you. It happens with Chelsea. You just got to calm down, man. The process at Arsenal, you've employed a rookie manager, which I said, so it's going to take time. You've not employed a Jose Mourinho or a Pep Guardiola where you demand instant success. You've employed a manager who's a novice. So when you employ a novice, that tells me you're going to believe in the process because he's inexperienced. If I say it all the time, if I've got a factory and I get a professional stacker truck driver, I expect all my deliveries to be on that truck fucking perfect and out the door. If I get a guy that's never drove a stacker truck before, he's going to be smashing the side of the truck. He's going to be dropping pallets all over. That's just because of the way I've done it. So think about it. Yeah. So when I was saying give him time, I was saying give him time. And finally, they're giving him time. He's getting you good results, but calm down. You ain't going to win the league, innit?
Yeah. That's the thing. And the other thing I would say is finally, and this is on a few teams, not just Arsenal, is right now it's fine. When you've got, and I won't even talk about the ability. I'm talking about leadership qualities, experience. When you get to the last 10, 15 games of the league, that's where you need experience and leaders, right? And if Jesus gets injured, Zinchenko gets injured, you know what? I'll put Xhaka out there as well because he is experienced. One of those players get injured. That's where I think Arsenal might come unstruck. But we've spoke about other teams too much, and we've had one hell of a transfer window.
Big up the super chat here. Sorry. Zane again. Zane, I know you've got a few quid because I've seen you on other channels bigging everyone up. I appreciate the support, bro. Why'd you get rid of Jesus and keep Grealish? Jesus and Grealish, different positions, mate. We replaced Jesus with Erling Haaland. Now look how that went. So Grealish, forget about Grealish. Grealish is in his little groove. He's doing what he needs to do. You just concentrate on your players. Odegaard is better than him. That is your opinion. Listen, we'll soon see. But Jack Grealish has got a Premier League winners medal around his neck. Jack Grealish has got a Gucci deal. And Odegaard, I don't know, is he the face of IKEA or something? You know what I mean? There's levels to this shit. And I'd rather be repping Gucci with a Premier League medal around my neck than walking around IKEA buying wardrobes. So
also, Jesus got sold because he had a year left on his contract. We just got 45 million off your club for a guy with a year left on their contract. Same with Sterling, a year left on their contract. Any of that, I'm sorry. We've just signed Haaland, Alvarez, Calvin Phillips, Ortega, Gomez, and Akanji. Is that how you pronounce?
Yeah, well,
we made 60 million profit.
Enough Arsenal. Sorry, Away. Sorry, said you missed your super chat. I didn't see it, bro. I didn't see it. If you type it up in the comments, I'll put it back on and I'll read it out. Sorry, bro. But yeah, we get back to City there. We spoke about Alvarez. You know what I mean? We know what he's about now. I'm confident Alvarez might get a game tomorrow as well. We talked about Kevin De Bruyne being rested. What I wanted to go on as well, just touch on for the Forest game, fantastic to see Cole Palmer getting minutes and young Rico Lewis. I mean, young Rico Lewis, I think he's 17 now or 18. For him to be playing at the Etihad against Nottingham Forest, 6-0 up, rattling in them challenges and all that, it was great to see, man. I think he's got a great future, do you?
You know what? I think it says a lot where I don't want to slander other youngers, right? But Rico Lewis isn't one that's got a new contract this summer, right? But the fact that Pep keeps drawing for him, it kind of tells you something, doesn't it? That he's seeing something in the player, that he's wanting this player around the team. He's trusting in the player. Yeah, do you know what? I didn't realise he was that young as well. Is he 17?
17, man, yeah. Obviously, Wilson Esbrand had a great pre-season. A lot of City fans were thinking, give him a chance. And he's not quite had that chance yet. But Rico Lewis, fair play to Pep, you know what I mean? He's,
100%. And
he's bringing him on.
1,000,000%. It's the fact that I didn't realise. I'm a bit flabbergasted he's 17. I didn't, because when people talk about younger players now, they're not usually 17. They're 19, 20. He's 17. And yeah, I do
It's
like that Pep's using his 5 subs.
Yeah, well, like you say, that works for us now. I've got to go back to the last 10 games of last season. Me and you probably went to them all, and we were limping home. And me and you said, "Fucking hell, man, we need to get over the line here." Yeah. And you look at the fine margins of that Premier League that we won last year, and that could have gone either way. And it was solely down to the amount of games. And I tell you what, anyone that's got Manchester City TV who's watching the current series about last season, I watched one this morning. I got up, had me bran flakes, had a brew, and I watched the latest episode,
That's 6:30 in the morning, I bet, as well.
Yes, because obviously I get up in the morning, do a day's graft. You lie in bed all fucking day because you're from from London, and that's what you lot do. Anyway, we won't talk about that. But I watched it this morning, and them games against Atletico Madrid, Wolves, Leeds, Kevin De Bruyne was getting injections in his feet. He was having massages. He was having blister things put around him.
De Bruyne was as well.
They were patching us up, man. Yeah, they were patching it. Patching it up.
Was.
Yeah, they were all at it. Laporte had it in his knee. Rodri was carrying a knock, and we were literally patching the team up. And I think this season, that is what we're trying to avoid. And the fact that he's bringing in these players like Akanji, like Sergio Gomez, that can play 6 or 7 positions, I think that takes the pressure off us. Because last year, Fernandinho got us out the shit. Nathan Ake got us out the shit. John Stones at right back got us out the shit.
Zinchenko as well, to be fair.
And Zinchenko, yeah. We just don't want to be relying on players playing out of position in a title running and a Champions League and a semi-final. We give up an FA Cup semi-final because of it.
Yeah, we did.
Because we didn't have the players.
Yeah, really.
Do you know what I mean? So I think
it's relevant with that, with playing Rico Lewis now, because it's not like, right, we're going to wait till we're under pressure and start giving him some game time. You know what? We're 5-0 up, right? We can make 5 subs. Bring him on. Give him some game time now, because then he's getting that experience. You know what? If he goes back and plays for the under-23s for a bit, no problem whatsoever. But he's getting that Premier League experience. I think Cole Palmer could be huge this season. I think there's going to be certain games where Cole Palmer could be massive, because you know what you see in Cole Palmer, Steve?
Go on.
You see goals. You see the confidence for him to strike the ball outside the box. Sometimes when you bring on these players that maybe haven't played as much, they lack confidence. But Cole Palmer seems to have this confidence. And I saw an interview with him, I think after the Barcelona game, where he said, these are the games that I need to prove myself now, because I know I'm not one of the starting 11. But every opportunity I get, I'm trying to do something to catch Pep's eye. And I think there could be games later in the season where Cole Palmer... Remember when Foden played against Tottenham a few seasons back? He hadn't been starting and he came on and scored a goal. I think Cole Palmer could have a season like that, I really do. I think his confidence
I love
in himself.
Cole.
Yeah.
I love Cole Palmer, and I think he's doing really well. He was unfortunate with the injury last year. But yeah, we've got a good batch. I mean, we'll touch on it now. We're touching on the signings. Obviously, Akanji came in, was a bit out of nowhere. I know a little bit about him. I watched him a few years ago, Switzerland defender. He was decent. He went to Dortmund. He hasn't quite hit the ground running. Steady enough for us. For the money, it's a no-brainer. He's good cover. He's intelligent. So it is what it is. I think he'll fit in well. Sergio Gomez, that was another one out of left field. Nobody predicted it. Cucurella deal was all lined up. Player wanted to come. Money didn't make sense. So we moved on to another target. And then you look at the outgoings. I mean, the kids that we're letting go. They're not going to make the first team just yet. Let's let them go for a good fee. Let's put a 20% sell on. Let's put a buyback option. It's a win-win situation for Manchester City. Romeo Lavia now is getting the plaudits. Romeo Lavia can get the plaudits. He's gone to Southampton. He's playing competitive week in, week out. If he rips up trees at Southampton, we just buy him back. Southampton triple the money on him, and we get our player back for less than what we could go out there and buy a superstar player for. So it makes sense. I mean, yesterday, Samuel Adoze and Larius, the fullback, the Spanish kid, they go to Southampton.
Both of them?
Both of them's gone there, yeah.
Four. What are they loans or are they?
No. We sold Adoze for 10, Larius for 6. There's 20% sell-ons on both of them and buyback clauses on them. Pep's come out today and said, look, if they explode at Southampton, we pull them back, and it's as simple as that.
I think I was speaking to some City fans on the train up Wednesday, and I was saying about it that we have changed from we used to loan out, right? I think probably the reason why McAtee's gone out on a loan is the potential to pull him back. Go on.
Zayn again. Zayn, come on, man. Put your dad's credit card away here, man, because I'm going to get these people are going to be on me here. Steve, I think you were rattled by the Arteta revolution. Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus get more goals than your front three. I think you're relying on Haaland too much, like Spurs do with Kane. Zayn, last season and the season before, unless you don't notice, we won the Premier League. We didn't have Haaland, and we didn't have a striker, so we don't rely on anyone like that. Come on, man.
Top goals in the top 5 leagues in Europe without Haaland or Alvarez.
Exactly.
Appreciate the super chat though. I was saying to these two City fans, and we used to loan players out, but it feels like now Pep and the powers that be, they don't want to loan these players out to Championship teams anymore because they think they're Premier League quality. But they know that Premier League clubs don't just want to loan a player; they want them. So now it's like, okay, well, you can take them, but we're having a buyback and we're having a sell on. And you look at Latvia and you think 40 million is quite a lot as a sell on, as a buyback, sorry. But when Declan Rice is being valued at 150 million, if we could go in a season, 2 seasons time and get him for 40 million, it's a steal. But now we're giving them that experience in the Premier League now.
Yeah, the thing is, the under-23 league is not competitive enough for some of our players. Yeah. We're beating teams 14, 15-0. We're winning the Premier League 2-3 times on a trot. It's not going to work. So it's a win-win for everyone. It reminded me of, obviously, I'm a bit older than you. Am I older than you? How old are you? You look older than me.
We can have this debate offline, Steve.
But listen, what it is, I remember in the early 90s, Oldham Athletic, they had a good side.
What are they?
Oldham Athletic got to the Little Woods Cup final. They got beat off Forest. They got to FA Cup semi-finals. They couldn't afford massive players, but what they did is they looked around academies in local Man City, Everton, Man United, and City, and they went and got players really, really cheap. Dennis Irwin, Earl Barrett, players like that. And then Oldham Athletic, Joe Royal made a living off that. I read his book and he said we couldn't compete with the big boys. We went in there. Southampton's gone along the same model. They've had a look at the market and thought this transfer market is absolutely crazy. The money for these players is mad. They've got Man City's academy guy in, and he's turned around and gone, hold on a minute, don't go wasting your dough out there. Let's grab these players.
Is that what it is? I didn't know that. They've got our academy guy.
Yeah, our academy guy left and gone to Southampton. So he's got Gavin Bazunu, who's Ireland's number 1 for 16. He's got Lavia for 16. He's got Samuel Adoze and Larius. It's a win-win. They've got 4 up-and-coming potential superstars for a pittance. And if it gets Southampton where they need to be, it does. And if they blow up, like Pep says, and Man City go in there, we can buy them back. So it's a great way of doing it.
Do you know the other thing that I would say is, Southampton's academy has always been good. Yeah. So it speaks volumes for the fact that they're now reaching back to our academy, because Southampton's academy, if you look at it, they've always created very good players. So the fact that they're now reaching back to us, it tells you a lot, man. It tells you a lot about what we're doing. The academy is working. And I think, all right, when we're talking about winning the Premier League, that happened quicker than probably we ever expected. And the dominance that we've created has probably happened quicker than we expected. But we always knew the academy was going to take a while. But now the academy is really flourishing. It really is. It's, to the point where now we signed, I'll repeat it again, Haaland, Alvarez, Ortega, Gomez, Akanji, and Phillips, and we made 60 million profit this summer.
Yeah. No,
Liverpool fans would get a trophy for that.
Listen, we all know that our club is the best run in the land for me. And at the end of the day, they set about building this new training academy. They put a lot of money into it, and now it's paying for itself. At the end of the day, you've just got to look at the players they're churning off. If they're not good enough for Manchester City, then we're getting 10, 16, 12 million for them. At the end of the day, they've not only built a football club, they've built an academy, and they've built a football team. They've done exactly what they said on the tin. And you're going to see these other football clubs now looking at us and thinking, we need to do that. How many are changing the training academies? Loads of them. How many of them look identical to City's? Loads of them. How many are now starting to look at foreign teams to buy under an umbrella and start pushing players around? Loads of them. Oriol Romeu just left Southampton. Oriol Romeu came from Barcelona, has been at Southampton 7 years. He's a tidy DM. He's just signed for Girona. Now, you're not telling me, if we're struggling for a DM in January and we're in the shit, you're not telling me we ain't pulling in from Girona and coming to us. Same as what Frank Lampard did when he went to New York and we got him on loan. So all these players that are around, there's a Brazilian kid called Alex Teles Magno, and he was really up-and-coming Brazilian. He plays for New York City. Who owns New York City? Us. He's tearing it up in New York. Where do you think his next destination is? I'm telling you now, he's either going to Girona, he's either going to Troyes, or he's either coming to Manchester City. But this is what I'm saying. All these players all under the radar, we've got them all under our umbrella anyway. We can move them around when we want. So Man City as a football club at the minute is unbelievable. And as a fan from the dark days like yourself, when we didn't even have any pies, or we used to queue up and they'd run out of shirts, it's refreshing to see.
Yeah. And I think the other thing to say to everyone, because we're in a period now where we're actually not spending as much as other people. But I want to speak on behalf of Man City fans, whereas other clubs
back
might
again, man. He's back again, Zayn.
I know
Zayn, man. Unlike United, who overpay on players, people only join them because of money. They think they are back after beating a pub team. I think Manchester will be blue for the next 100 years. I like you, Zayn. I love you, Zayn. Big up, Zayn. May I say, respect, bro. Innit? Manchester will be blue for 100 years, man. Respect.
Steve, what I was going to say is, and you said it before, you always say you can give a shit about how much money we're spending, and you're right. I couldn't give a shit. I always used to say, you know what? If we spend this much, it means that we win a league, and I get to experience us winning something, and then our owners disappear and go and buy Scunthorpe and turn Scunthorpe into Manchester City. Fair play. We've experienced it. Another fan base get to experience it. But the difference is now, what they've done, they've ultimately made sure that our club will never be where we used to be.
No.
Never.
No, listen, it's great to see. And like you say, we're Man City fans now. Back in the day, when you live and breathe it, I mean, I live and breathe City. I try and go home and away every single day. Man City's in my mind.
You're at the shop most mornings, mate.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, when I sit there, sometimes I look at other teams going through crisis, and I think I've been there. I don't want to do that. The only crisis I have, them runnings, these title runnings like last season, they stressed me out, mate. Made me ill, man. It's like I'm living and breathing it. I feel like I'm in the squad. I'm me and you in the Bernabeu. If they had a camera on us in the Bernabeu when that goal went in, listen.
I remember the first one. I remember when they scored their first. I kind of looked at you almost as in, nah, this is fine, isn't it? And it was kind of, we both looked at each other. Nah, no.
Yeah, but then the typical City comes out from your pit of your stomach, and you think, fucking hell.
Especially then, because the difference, I think the difference in the Bernabeu to, say, Atletico is the ticket allocation was so much smaller, which meant it was the older fan base.
Yeah.
So you get more of the typical City. Whereas at Atletico, there was a lot more younger faces there that don't know that typical City as much. Yeah. So it was, but listen, I'm looking forward to the Champions League already. got to ask you a question. Semi-final minimum, absolute minimum, right?
Do you know what? I can't look that far ahead. I just can't look that far ahead. I like to just relax.
You've got two games a week, Steve.
Yeah, but you know, one of the reasons why I stopped doing a lot of the shows, you know, a lot of the other shows with rival fans is it gets a bit daft for me. And I just think to myself, you know what? I can't be around that because that's not me. So when I'm on this show with yourself, who's a City fan, and all these people in the comments, I know we've got some Arsenal fans in here and everyone's welcome and they're great. But a lot of us are Blues, so we can relate to each other. So let everyone else get carried away. Let everyone else get on the Haaland train. I'm getting on the Haaland train. I'm 41 years old, mate, and I've got a number 9 Haaland on my shirt, and I was getting dogged for it. But I don't give a shit, mate, because he's my hero and I love him. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to relax with it. I'm looking forward to it. All I'm going to say is, in the last few years, we are arriving at the business end of that Champions League. Semi-finals, finals, and that's where we want to be. So if you're asking me now, I'm never going to predict anything. All I'm going to say is, let's keep getting to them business ends of the season, to the semis and the finals, and we'll definitely get one over the line.
Do you know what? You've just actually, because the reason why I said it is because last night I kind of had a bit of I kept getting asked. I said, do you know what? I'm just going to keep getting asked about the Champions League now. It's like everyone's almost given up on the league. So their one thing to say to us is, but you have to do the Champions League. So I just came out with it and said, do you know what? I'm going to give a prediction now because I'm bored of being asked about it. I really am. You just reeled me in a bit because it is a fact. We don't care about, if it wasn't for other fan bases, we wouldn't care about it that much.
We've got to win it now because, listen, when I was in Porto and we lost that Champions League, it was hard to take because I thought we got our name on it. I looked the day before the final. I went up the steps and they had the Champions League trophy outside. You can have your picture with it. I walked up. I wouldn't touch it. I stood next to it. I had my picture with it. I walked off. Said to me, mate, I ain't touching it until we won it. And then when we got in the stadium, it felt a bit weird. And then obviously what happened. The team come out. There's no Fernandinho, no Rodri. Sterling was starting. Everyone was getting a bit weird. And we lost it. And that left a nasty taste. And I thought, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to go on streams and say, yeah, it didn't matter and all that. It did matter. We should have beat Chelsea that day and we should have won it. Yeah. And then last season, to be that close in the Bernabeu from a final, I told you, we were thinking Paris. And 1 minute later, we were thinking Blackpool. And that's how quick shit can change.
I don't think at any point before the game we ever spoke about the fact we were looking at hotels in Paris. We were.
Yeah, because we were confident. And that's not being arrogant. That's being confident in your team.
No. Yeah.
Big up Zane again here with the super chat. Steve, do you think Pep will leave once he leaves Champions League? Where do you think he'll go after? For me, I think the level of intensity that Pep Guardiola does on a daily basis will take its toll. And I believe he'll take a break. And I believe he maybe will take a national job somewhere. So he's got a lot of time to spend with his family. And he can just pick and choose his team, World Cups, things like that. But listen, Pep Guardiola is the best manager in the world. He can do what he wants. And I believe that one day, Daps, he will end up at Girona. Because his brother has got a slice in Girona. And I've got a feeling he will end there. Yeah. I've got a feeling he'll end up in Girona, man.
I was going to say to you, though, because I'm club over country. However, Pep England, that could be what we need. That could be what we need.
The thing with Pep, he needs time with the same group of players to play his philosophy. And I think if you're not a technical players, and a lot of the England squad are not that technical, I don't think he gets the best out of them. If he goes to Brazil, where they're all technical as fuck, he will get that Brazil team playing like you'll never see. And that's why he said in his mind, I fancy Brazil. Because he knows in the Brazilian mindset of football, it's all about technical ability. In the English mindset of football, it's all about win the ball, grafting, physical, powerhouses and all that. I just think if he's going to manage a national team, he's going to be, well, I don't think he'll do
Spain. You know what, it's fine because he has mentioned Brazil before, isn't he? He has done. He has. And South America as well. Yeah, I think.
You imagine Pep Guardiola with Brazil or Argentina.
You're right. The fan base will give him time because they'll respect what he's done and be like, yeah, it's fine. They will. I think you're spot on. They'll give him the time he needs.
But do you know what? I think, do you know, someone put Harry Maguire there as the king of technique. Yeah, can you imagine Pep with Connor Cody and Eric Dyer at the back? I just can't see it, mate. But at the end of the day,
you know what? Ignore what I said. Actually,
Do
I'm
you
just
know,
dreaming.
this is what Jesse Lingard and shit. It's not going to happen. So Pep will just do what he's doing. But listen, Pep Guardiola, if he left tomorrow, would go with our blessing. People always ask that question: where do you think Pep will end up? Don't care. Let him go and do what he wants. He'll always be a legend to us. But you know, I don't even want to talk about them days anymore. Pep going and that's scary times, man.
You know what?
Scary
The
times.
thing is, though, Steve, I'm going to do what you usually do with me.
Go on.
We know that the first people that will know when Pep is leaving is our board, right?
100%.
Before he signed his first extension, they'd given, I think it was Van Bronckhorst, access to everything because they were already thinking, well, we have to look at who the replacements are. So our board will know a good, at very least, I reckon, 9-10 months. Like, say, for example, if Pep really is not going to extend, our board will already know by now. And they'll already be making moves. I wouldn't be surprised if Pep is helping them make the moves because he's too connected to the club. He is. We have to trust in the board and know that the board will do us right because they very rarely do us wrong.
No, you're right. Listen, it's 10 minutes to go. Tomorrow, Aston Villa away, 5 o'clock kickoff. We're on great patch of form. They're on a downer. Gerrard's come out today and said for 76 minutes, they gave us a hell of a lot of problems. I think they did. But then for fucking 10 minutes, mate, we flipped it around. So I'll be more worried about that. I think Gerrard's on his arse. I think he came in with a lot of hype from Rangers. He freshened Villa up a bit. They needed it. They had a bit of a bounce. Now, when the shit's hitting the fan, I don't think they're playing for him. I think some of the signings he's making are weird. And I hope tomorrow that we absolutely fucking hammer Aston Villa and Steven Gerrard gets sacked.
Do you know what? I think great job at Rangers, but if you look at what Van Bronckhorst done since he's gone in, are they playing better football? Probably. So, did he do that good a job at Rangers? Really? Or
I think he did. I think he did a good job. I just think that at Aston Villa, I just think he's a bit out of his depth. I mean, they're talking about him being Liverpool manager and all that. I can't see it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he does come out with a bit of nonsense. Villa are fighting for their lives. That can be dangerous. If you go into a place like that and they're fighting for their lives, it can be dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can't go into these games after what happened at Newcastle and what happened at home to Palace. We can't go into these games too cocky. We've just got to get there, get the ball down, keep the ball, squeeze the life out of them, get the 3 points, move on to the next one.
Do you know, I think a few things that are important are the fact De Bruyne got rested.
Yeah.
I also think the fact that this will now be, is it the 2.5 games of Stones and Diaz playing together?
Yeah.
Admittedly, first game when Ake went off and Stones came on, all right, it didn't, but that was their first game back together. You change your defense, sometimes it takes a minute, but we have to go back to a season and a half ago where they were unbeatable. So I think the more games Diaz and Stones get together, the better they're going to look. Because we know they have the chemistry. Alvarez is, you know what? Let's ignore Haaland. Alvarez is going to be, Alvarez hadn't scored in the league. He scored 2 last game. And not only did he score 2, but even with Haaland scoring 3, Alvarez got a lot of pundits excited. So I think he's going to be, but you are right. We can't deny the fact that 6 games ago, they gave us a run for our money. We can't, it's the Premier League. We can't look at any team and go, this is a walkover. We can't. We really can't. So, and we have to remember, we've got that lead on Liverpool. We have to continue it. We can't start the season well, let them start the season the way they started, and then go and drop stupid points and let them catch up. Because Steve, you said before, if we talk about last season, if we talk about most seasons as City fans, then we talk about the season, the Centurion season. Which one was easier? Which one was easier on your life?
The Centurion season was easier for me.
Yeah, that's 100%. What I'm saying. I want to go into January, February, March thinking we've got this wrapped up. I don't want to go into it stressing and worrying. And the fact is, anyone that doesn't, I used to look at my friend who's an Arsenal fan when he'd get stressed out and be like, I never want to be like this because, football's not that deep because of the childhood we had. But the fact is, unfortunately, we're there now. We are there where we do expect certain things. We do expect, because we do YouTube. If we have to face, remember when we came back from the Bernabeu and had to face everyone, Steve?
Yeah.
When
100%.
we missed our daughters and we missed,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? We've been traveling.
No,
And then you have to
listen,
face people. It's stressful.
a lot of the reason why I left the YouTube scene, because I was so busy. I was working. I've got my young kids. I was going to watch Man City week in, week out. 1 minute I'm in Madrid. Then I'm flying back from Madrid into London. Then I'm doing an FA Cup semi-final. Then I'm going back out to Madrid on the Monday. Then I'm coming back and going to Wolves. Then I'm going to Crystal Palace on the Monday night. You know, this is not, it's no joke, man. This is no joke. I'm driving up and down the country. I'm missing my kids. And then I have to do a Big Six show on the Tuesday, Big Six show on a Thursday. Then you have to do a Premier League show on a Friday. Then they want you to do a match reaction on a Sunday. It's just too much, man. It's too much. Yeah. So this is for me now, like I've said, We Are the South Stand show, Friday night, 8 o'clock is going to be my time. I'm going to try and build a regular show for City fans. I'm going to try and get some City fans on here to talk City. We want to build a good community. We want to build a nice vibe. We don't want fucking idiots. You know, we've got the mods in the chat who block them and that, but other fans are welcome if they're nice and respectful. And we'll debate all things. We've gone off topic a few times tonight. We've talked about Arsenal. We've talked about Pep. But this is what I think it's been a great show. And man. So listen, let's leave it on a match prediction then. Just let me see. There's a super chat just come in. Sorry. Big frame and even bigger heart. YouTube needs you, my bro, Big Steve. A true class act. Keep on giving. And one love from Lightbound Road. And big up Lightbound Road, man. Big up Moston. MOSTON. The Moston boys are here again. Love Lightbound Road. That's where I grew up. But listen, that's really nice, man. I appreciate that. Respect for that, man.
But Steve, come on, man. I always say it. It's not just in YouTube. Steve's an elite person, not just in YouTube world or football world. So, but my prediction, I gave one yesterday. I think I said 3-1 City.
3-1 City. Big up the Arsenal fans there saying in the chat they love me and that. I know, man, I get a lot of love in London. When I got to London, the Chelsea fans, not so much. The Gremlin thing really upset them.
They don't love each other, Steve. They're not going to love other fan bases.
The Arsenal fans respect that I've always spoke nice about the club. But listen, I just say my own opinion. If I like a team, I'll say it. If I like a manager, I'll say it. If I don't like a manager, I'm going to say it. And that's just my opinion. If you don't like my opinion, don't watch. If you do like my opinion, thank you for watching. But at the end of the day, I'm going tomorrow, right? Before I give my opinion, there's 320 odd people in here. Please hit the like button. Because I wasn't active for a while on my channel, the algorithm basically slapped me in the face and he's knocked me right down the peg. These other YouTubers, Man City ones who aren't as good as me, who are getting more likes than me, more views than me. So we need to put that right. So hit that like button, and then after the show, share this show. Any Man City groups you're in, any things like that. People are having a beer tonight, chilling in the kitchen, sat in bed, whatever. Rather than watching Married at First Sight with your bird, you could watch Big Steve and Daps on the South Stand show. So at the end of the day,
do none of this. You don't need to do none of this. You don't need to do none of this.
It is what it is. No, but it is what it is, man. So I'm going to go.
Encourage me to say other names, and I don't want to say other names. So
forget the other names. I'm going to go Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 0. Yeah. Big Nordic meat shield on the score sheet again. Watch out for Big Steve at the front with a massive flag. Unfinished Haaland business that arrived today. If they don't take it off me for going in the ground, then I'll be there. And if Haaland scores, I'm wrapping it round him on the front row. So big up, everyone. But listen, Daps, thanks for coming on, mate. I know you're busy. I know that you're getting your channel up and going. So let everybody know, mate, where they can find you.
Never a Foul. It's in the title, and we have a show at 10:30. Steve blessed it last week for about 2.5 hours, which was elite. But 10:30. Any fans want to call in, join us. Never a Foul, and we're going to be talking about Arthur, Ronaldo, Haaland, anything you lot want to talk on. But appreciate you having me on, and I'll see you next Saturday.
Yes, big up everybody. Have a great weekend. Keep cheering on them Blues. If you go into the game, get behind the lads. If you're not, get behind them in the boozer. Don't be throwing pint pots and fucking bottles about and all that this weekend. Chill out with your family, get a kebab, watch Match of the Day. Man City, we're coming for it. See you all soon.